It is time. It is time. Thank you for joining us, San Luis, to Living the Run, where we talk everything health and fitness. I'm your host, Rex Stevens, alongside the Olympian, and must be a proud moment for you. You saw a world record there in Eugene, decathlete Paul Terek.
It's incredible. I can live vicariously through my old coach. He's got a good athlete now. I mean, I don't know what that really says about me, but he coaches me. I do okay. He coaches the next guy. He breaks the world record. I'm not really sure how I should take that yet, but it was awesome. It was awesome to watch that.
You know, maybe he started with you, made some mistakes, learned a few things with you, and took it to the next level, and now he's got a world record holder.
While I would agree, I don't think it was necessarily him making the mistakes. I think that Ashton is a...
You had a few, too.
Ashton is we've heard of some of my blows. But, yeah, Ashton is a specimen, and that guy is incredible. I don't think there's ever been obviously there's never been an athlete of his caliber, but to win the 100 in world record, decathlon world record time, and then win the 1500 at the trials. It hasn't been since Bruce Jenner that a U.S. decathlete has been at that level overall, but has also been a great 1500 runner. It's kind of like this thing we're known for is, well, they're pretty good athletes, but when it comes to running the 15, they're going to jog it. And I'm just glad that Ashton had a chance to break the record and did. He ran out. He didn't just. A lot of people will just go, yeah, you know what? I don't want to risk anything. I just want to make the team. And Ashton put it on the line and ran a huge PR in the 1500.
Yeah, 4:15. I mean, that's
4:14, I think, actually. Just get that out there.
4:14, actually. I mean, that's a flying time.
At 6 points a second, 4:14. His score. He broke the record by 23 points, I think. And at 6 points a second, 2.5 seconds. Incredible
stuff. This show just continues to get better and better. Talk about people living the run at a high level. We keep talking to these great athletes around the world, but are right here in your town, San Luis Obispo, who are doing some amazing things. We're going to have a few callers coming in. We're going to have kind of an Olympic overview here, Paul, where we talk to folks from Eugene, Oregon in the track and field. We're going to go out to Omaha, Nebraska for the swimming. We'll go out to San Jose for the gymnastics, and we're really going to kind of get a view of what's happening out there on the athletic scene right now.
To be honest, I've always been a little bit jealous of Randolph and the handsome man that he is, but I am insanely more jealous because he got to compete right there with him while he's doing it, and he got to see it on the track. All I can do is watch it in replays and read about it online, but Rando got to see it. So, again, I'm a little jealous.
Chris Randolph is a good-looking guy. People love it. When he worked in my office at Slow Wellness Center.
It was hard to keep people out there, or hard to keep them focused, wasn't it?
The people just wanted to stay in the waiting room. They didn't want to come in and get their adjustment. Rando was out there in the waiting room, and he was the eye candy.
I'm sorry, Miss Johnson. I didn't realize you had an appointment today. Oh, well, I don't. I just came to see Chris. Yes.
Hey, we had Chris Randolph in studio. He just participated in Olympic trials. He was there competing with Ashton Eaton at a world record. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
I came in on a perfect time. I mean, you guys are just talking me up. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, the modeling career, Rando, we know is there for you. What Paul doesn't understand, and we were talking about before the show started, is that he was saying that it was premier conditions out there. He thought the scores should have been higher. Talk to us about those conditions, Rando.
Yeah, well, it was the worst decathlon that I've competed in weather-wise, for sure. The first day, it was rain off and on, but while we were out there doing our stuff, the 100 meters, the long jump, the shot put, it was pouring, basically sheets of rain. And usually in the Northwest, I trained up there. It doesn't really rain like that. It rains, it kind of mists. And so it was pretty unusual, I would say. And, we had crosswinds. They didn't even have tents out there for the athletes for maybe the first couple hours that we were competing. We were just sitting in the rain without anything to cover us.
So
we weren't allowed umbrellas either. It was crazy.
Just to clarify, I need to clarify this. In the history of the world, no one has done better in a decathlon than Ashton Eaton. So what you're saying is that in the history of the world, the greatest performance ever happened, and you're telling me it was bad weather. It sounds like a poor craftsman blames his tools here.
Well, the crazy part, he had a world record, and it was horrible weather. He did it in horrible conditions. Now, there's something to be said about it at his home track, with his home crowd and all that kind of stuff. And he was able to rise above, what was going on with the weather. But, to be honest, he didn't have the best meet of his life. He did have a couple of world records, of course, in the 100 and the long jump, but he's been close to those world records for a year now. He's been milliseconds off or a few inches off, and so it wasn't that big of a deal that he broke those. But he had great events and he had some not good events, and he still broke the record. It was insane to watch.
Hey, Rando, talk to us a little bit about perseverance. We talk about that a lot on Living the Run. We talk about those things that sometimes bring us down. We're going to have a guest on here that ran 100 miles at Western States. Again, perseverance is going to be a big topic there. But talk to us about perseverance for you. Weather's tough. It was your second Olympic trials. What do you take home from it? How much fun did you have? It's always great to be there in Eugene, Oregon, I know. Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Well, it was a blast to be out there, and it truly is an honor to compete. Making the Olympic trials is hard enough, to get there to just actually do something. And so it was really, just like I said, it was an honor to be out there. And for me, I didn't have the meet that I was looking for, whether it was the weather or whether it was something in training that happened beforehand. But the truth is I made it through the decathlon, and we started with 18 athletes, and I think only 12 athletes posted a decathlon score, so that's without no hiding or no marking. And so, it's a third of the field that didn't even really finish the decathlon. And so, and that, at the end for me, it was, whether that was the last meet that I'll ever do, it was just about finishing and just making it through the whole beast that is the decathlon.
Yeah, Coach Harry Merritt did tell us that, where he said it seems like more can go wrong in a decathlon than can go right, and it sounded like this was one of those cases where endurance and perseverance, was the big deal. Chris, what does the future hold for you? Give us real quick, give us a wrap on what happened in Eugene, what you took away from it, and where you look forward to going from here.
Well, I think for now I need a few weeks off to kind of figure out what I want to do.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, the hard part for me is, I still feel like I personally have points on the table that I'd like to get out there and grab. And so it'll be hard to walk away, but I think for now it's just a little bit of off time, and then maybe regroup in about a month or so and just kind of see where we're at. I qualified for a U.S.-Germany dual meet to compete internationally, but we're just going to kind of have to see. It's going to be hard to leave, for sure.
Hey, Rando, thanks for joining us on Living the Run. Thanks for a recap on Eugene. Congratulations on a great meet, and congratulations on finishing there. Tremendous stuff, and I know it's a time that being able to be at a meet, compete in a meet with a world record holder has to be super special to you, and I know it's super special to be in the second trials.
Something I'll never forget. It was incredible.
Awesome. Thank you much, Rando. We will have you back in soon.
Okay. Thanks, Rick.
Thanks so much.
See you, Paul.
Hey, we're going to go now to Judd Clark from Puma. We're going to get an update here from the Olympic trials in Omaha, Nebraska. We had Zach Stevens on last week, swimmer, 16-year-old, qualified for the Olympic trials in the breaststroke as a 15-year-old. Judd, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Rex. How are you and Paul doing back there?
Well, I know I'm doing well, but Paul, struggling as usual.
I'm nervous about my races that you set up for me in the coming weeks, Rex. I got to be honest. I'm nervous.
You should be, Paul.
Hey, when we talked about taking Paul out a mile from sea and dropping him off the side and telling him to go east or go west, or east in this case, that was a worry. If we said go west, it'd be a real worry.
Thanks to Magellan.
Let him keep going. Let's just see Paul how far he can go.
Yeah, let's get a compass. Hey, it's supposed to be an absolutely incredible pool out there. Tell us about the facilities. Is it anything like you've ever seen?
Well, I think the word epic is used frequently, but this truly is an epic event. Honestly, I haven't seen anything quite like this. The Quest CenturyLink Center here in Omaha, they've transformed. You'd go into the stadium and you'd expect to see like a basketball game or a hockey game, and it's this beautiful 50-meter pool, and it's just first class. And tonight there was I think you'll see it at 8 o'clock back at Pacific time. Four finals tonight where Olympians were named, and the crowd is amazing, and it's an emotional experience as a swimmer and a swim coach to see some of these kids make the Olympic team. And Zach swam his 100 breaststroke on Monday. He lowered his time. He moved up 20 spots from where he's seated. And we kind of looked through the past history of Olympic trials since they've been keeping record of what 18 and under swimmers have done, and his specifically 100 breaststroke, and he's in the top 11, top 12 all time for Olympic trials. So he's amazing as far as what he's been able to do. Last week, Paul, after the show, had talked to Zach and said, the guy next to you might look like they have it all together, but they're like the duck on the pond. Up top, it looks all smooth, and down below, the legs are churning. And let me tell you, for a 16-year-old, watching Zach on deck, getting ready for that 100 breaststrokes, he was calm and collected and extremely poised. And so for him to get a lifetime best and get this experience early on, he keeps working hard. He keeps the fire within and keeps that good positive support from his family, our coaching staff like Rich Furman. I really think 4 years' time he could be number one or number two in the nation representing the U.S.
All right. Now, what did he take away? Like you said, he had a great performance. A lot of people can stop with that, but we knew him and we talked to him about goals, so he obviously hasn't just accepted it and walked away. What is he looking at his race, and what does he take away, and what's he changing for the future?
I think the biggest thing is, essentially being on the biggest stage outside of the Olympics. The Olympic trials is the fastest swim meet of the year. Actually, the top 30 times will be faster than the top 30 times in London. So I think he has kind of settled his nerves. He realizes he belongs on the big stage, and he's getting ready for his 200 breaststroke tomorrow. So he'll be doing prelims and 200 breaststroke tomorrow, and I think his goal there is he wants to obviously drop his time that he did last August. So he's pretty happy, but like I talked about last week, he kind of that stubborn persistence. He just wants more. So he's in a good place, and I'm really proud of him for what he's been able to accomplish mentally and how he's approached being here so far.
Hey, we're talking to Judd Clark from Puma Aquatics, Zach Stevens' coach. He's in Omaha, Nebraska now. We're doing Olympic overview. Last thing, Judd, what do you tell Zach before tomorrow's race? It's absolutely stunning when I read that he jumped up 20 spots. He's obviously did an incredible job of keeping the anxiety down, put together a top performance. What do you guys talk about before he goes out tomorrow for that second swim?
I mean, we approach it, Coach Furman and myself, we approach it with Zach like this is what have we prepared for? We're looking for a specific stroke rate, not getting too fast and spinning his wheels the first 50, but getting the right stroke rate and finishing his stroke and getting that power out of his legs and not getting ahead of himself, doing his race and not getting too excited, especially because it's a 200 breaststroke. And that's definitely a race that the coaching staff feels like in the future could really be possibly his best race. So he's only got one way to go with this, and that's up for sure.
Tell Zach all the folks in Slow County, all the folks here listening to Live and Run are pulling for him. We will watch him tomorrow, tuning in. Thanks, Judd, for joining us, and look forward to another update here in the future.
All right, Rex.
Have fun.
Paul, thanks so much.
Hey, that was Olympic overview there in Omaha, Nebraska. Our third overview here now. We will be going to San Jose this weekend. Mimi McKellar, Central Coast Gymnastics owner, she'll be presenting there, is now on the line. Mimi, thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thanks, Rex.
Hey, Mimi, what can we expect here from the Olympic trials up there in San Jose? What are you guys going to be looking for, and how much excitement is it going to bring?
Well, the Olympic trials are going to be amazing. There's 4 days of competition starting on Thursday, tomorrow, June 28th, and it runs through Sunday night, July 1st. We've got a lot of depth. So I know on the women's side and the men's side, they've got about 10 gymnasts they're looking at, both men and the women, that are going to be battling it out to be on that Olympic team. Typically, it's not exactly chosen that night for the women's program, and they really take it into consideration. They have about 3 weeks before the Olympics, so Marta Caroli is in charge of the women's program for USA Gymnastics. So she's going to be there with Bella Crowley, and they're going to be watching these girls compete on Friday and Sunday, and the men compete on Thursday and Saturday. So when the weekend's over, we'll have a better understanding of who's going to be on that Olympic stage.
So for us non-gymnasts, Mimi, how exactly does it work? Do they take one gymnast from each event or two gymnasts from each event and then an overall team, or do they make the overall team from the individual events? How does that work?
That's a good question, Paul. So it's really variable. They typically will take the top 7 all-arounders to compete. I'm not sure how the men are doing it this year, but I know the women are actually, for the first time, allowing event specialists. So I know for sure after the Olympic trials, the word is they're only going to be announcing 1 or 2 gymnasts for sure who are making the team, which I would imagine is going to be Nastia Lukin and Jordan Weiber, but that could change.
Hey, Mimi, talk about how, when we talk about your business, Central Coast Gymnastics, this is clearly the place to take your kids if you're interested in getting them involved in gymnastics. Talk about something special that's about to happen at your gym next week.
Oh, thanks, Rex. Yeah, we are the proud new owners of the floor exercise that's going to be used at the Olympic trials. So I battled it out with about 10 other gyms to get this piece of equipment. We've actually been fundraising for several months. It's a $17,000 piece of equipment that we're purchasing, and as soon as the Olympic trials are over and all those Olympic gymnasts tumbled on it, it gets to come back to Central Coast Gymnastics on July 4th, where we're going to be installing it in our gym.
Hey, listeners, if you want your kids to be jumping on a piece of history, Olympic trials material, this is the place to go, Central Coast Gymnastics. iFlipForCCG.com, right, Mimi?
Yep, and I just got good news today. We're also getting the women's bars, so we're getting a second piece of equipment. So it's very exciting. Awesome
stuff. Mimi, have a great time up there. We look forward to catching back up to you once the Olympics happen, getting an update from you on all that's going on. Thanks so much for an awesome business you have, and thanks for joining us here on Living the Run.
Absolutely. Have a great night, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Hey, awesome Olympic overview. We will come back next with Thomas Reiss. This guy just ran 100 miles at Western States in 20 hours, 18,000 feet of climbing, 22,000 feet of descent. You don't want to miss this. Next.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Since 1929, Standard Process has been dedicated to providing the highest quality whole food supplements. Their philosophy is simple: to provide nutrients as they are found in nature. Today, scientists are finding more and more evidence demonstrating the benefits of whole food nutrients over high-dose synthetic vitamins. Standard Process's unique products are sold through healthcare professionals who are trained in using whole food nutrition as the first line of defense for the body. Visit www.standardprocess.com for more information or to find a Standard Process healthcare practitioner near you.
Hey guys, Paul Terek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
My name is Chris Randolph, and as a local track and field Olympic hopeful, I've been seeing Brian Quigley at Slow Wellness Center to help me with injury recovery during my season. Brian has not only helped me with some very extensive injuries, but has also educated me on the specifics of how my body moves when I compete. His knowledge and touch has helped me achieve personal bests in my competition and has also helped me in injury prevention. Becoming a wellness patient of his has helped me stop my injuries before they start, making time spent recovering shorter, leaving more time spent training for my goals. From injury prevention to wellness, Brian understands the patient and holistically helps them achieve their personal health-related goals. So check out Brian Quigley at peakperformanceslo.com and find him on Facebook and comment a response to this ad and get a complimentary 60-minute massage.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Paul, that was a lot of fun. Olympic overview, first time. I don't know if that's the first time on Living the Run. Well, we bounced from city to city, and I must say you need to put a pat on the back for producer Max Woodcock. He handled that smoothly.
Better production than anything NBC ever does. There was no backstory and like tugging at your heartstrings. No, it was just facts and upfront news. I loved it.
It was brilliant. So thanks to Chris Randolph from Eugene, Oregon, giving us an update on the decathlon out there, track and field. Thanks to Judd Clark out in Omaha, Nebraska, giving us an update on really an elite high school swimmer, Zach Stevens, there in the swimming trials. And then thanks to Mimi McKellar from Central Coast Gymnastics in San Jose with the Olympic trials for the gymnastics. Awesome stuff. Real cool stuff. They're getting that floor and the bars. That's elite stuff, Paul.
I think they do some all-comer type stuff over there where you can pay a little bit, go and see if it's for you. Maybe take your kids over and get them involved, get them interested in gymnastics. So.
Yeah, real cool too. And how about an update on the all-comers meets? Speaking of that, track and field up in Atascadero. Those are starting up pretty soon.
The
right?
last I heard was every Wednesday in July.
Every Wednesday in July. What a chance to get your kids active. I know my kids loved it at an early age. You can be, if you can run, you can participate.
There's an event for you. I'm taking Joseph with us this year. Are we still gonna do that broadcast from there?
July 28th, we'll be broadcasting from the track meet, all-comers meet. I believe it's the 28th.
18th? 28th? We'll figure it out. Either way.
25th, Paul. It is actually the 25th. If we do the math real quickly, it's a Wednesday, the 25th. We will be out there, all-comers meet, so don't come on the 28th. We won't be there. Joining us on Living the Run right now, this is just one of the most amazing things ever. I actually had a patient ask me this just the other day. She says, now, how come you don't do these events like Western States? It's a pretty simple answer.
Grex, your car wouldn't even do the event like us. Your car wouldn't do that. Your car would do the 22,000 downhill. Yeah, your car could do that. The rest of it, no way.
Yeah, my 1995 Acura would have trouble keeping up with this guy, a guest of Living the Run in the past. We're so thankful to have him back. One of the most remarkable athletes I've ever seen and heard of, Thomas Reiss. Anybody who can run 100 miles, 18,000 feet of climbing up, 22,000 down in 20 hours. Brilliant stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
So, I don't know. The first question is how do you get into something like this, first of all? It's perplexing to most people's minds. We joke, but, some people's old cars really wouldn't do this. They really couldn't get up this far. But somehow your legs do it. How do you get excited about this? How did you get lured into this in the first place? And tell us about your journey.
I started out as like a track runner, running 1,500, 5,000, 10K, half marathon on the road. And eventually got bored with that, quit running, and then 5 years later I was like, I should run again, but I want to do something different. And so that's how I got into that. And so my first race was actually a 3-day, 3-marathon stage race in Lake Tahoe. It goes around the whole lake. And I enjoyed that, and then it went from there. And then it was my first 50K, first 50-miler, and here I am, and I just finished my third 100-mile race.
Yeah, last time you were on, it was Tahoe, and I thought I had talked you out of doing another one. I was hoping I had talked you out of doing another one, but apparently I did not, and he went even further and did what? It's Badlands, isn't it? Which one's
Western
this
States?
one? Western States.
Western States.
22,000 up, 22,000 down, 18,000 up. That's
it doesn't seem possible. You know what we should have asked? because your son was the brighter one of the group in here. You got 5 of us in here. There's clearly one very intelligent person, and that is your son Dylan. He asked the very first thing. He says, "You got to ask him about his feet. How are your feet after doing 100 miles, going up, going down?"
You know what? Actually, my feet survived pretty good. I'm one of the few runners who gets very little blisters and loses very little toenails. I have not lost a toenail yet.
That's not a statistic to keep.
Yeah, I would say most people at Western States, from all the downhill and your toes pounding into the toe box, probably lose on an average 2 or 3 toenails. I did not lose a toenail. I had a couple of blisters, and that was mainly due to the horrible weather. Because the first 6 hours, it was very unusual. It was the coldest and wettest Western States they had in 39 years. It was like up at Emigrant Pass at almost 9,000 feet. We had like snow, hail. Pretty much the first 6 hours, it was completely soaking wet. And that's where I got my blisters, because I'm actually pretty lucky with blisters. But that also gave a lot of shaving on my feet, but most people are way worse than my feet.
Were you at least able to change your shoes at any point? Did you have something that you could get into that was better later on?
You know what? You're allowed to, but I didn't change my shoes. So I said, my crew asked me at mile 62, I had my crew there, and they're like, "Do you want to change shoes?" And I'm like, if I take my shoes off, I'm done. I'm not taking my shoes off.
Friend of Living the Run, Dean Karnazes, another ultramarathon guy, had said that the first 50 miles are physical, the second 50 miles are mental. Agree? Disagree?
Absolutely, yeah. Like I know plenty of people that I think I'm a better runner than they are, and they kill me in a 100-miler just because they're mentally stronger, and vice versa. It's really, after 50 miles, it hurts, and it hurts everyone the same, and there's just some people who can push through it better than others. It's probably really similar to in the decathlon in the 1500. I would assume the last event, it hurts everyone, but some probably can push through it better than others.
Or how about this, Paul? Talk about pole vault there. Right? When we start to talk about bad weather, and it seems to be a theme on this show, we're talking to ultramarathoner Thomas Reiss, just finished Western States in a remarkable 20 hours here on Living the Run, ESPN 1280 The Ticket. Paul, talk about weather when it comes to crosswinds and rain with regards to the pole vault. Is that where it gets more mental?
That's where it gets a lot more mental, but I really want to get this out there in the beginning is to say that I am in no way comparing a decathlon or pole vault to a 100-miler. There's a lot of respect that goes to somebody that's going to be able to toe the line and 100 miles. It's baffling to me. I mean, I joke around like I could jog home from here, but in reality, no way, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, when you talk about the pole vault, the vault is all conditions. If all conditions are perfect, there's no wind and everything's great and the weather's good, you're probably like 60% chance of doing well and 40% chance of screwing up. Just because as a decathlete, there's so many intricacies involved. It's not just a simple run. It's not a run and a jump. It's a run, a jump, a sweep. You got to make sure everything's timed up. And when everything gets timed up, then you got to make sure the bar is directly under where your max hip height is. So there's a lot of things that have to add up. When you add the vault into it, especially like at the trials, I talked to Harry. Ashton's PR vault was into a headwind. You got the wind blowing the pole up. You're trying to drop it, and the wind's blowing it back up over your head, or it's blowing it off to the left or right, and you're trying to put it in this little box on the ground. It is more of a mental thing. You see a lot of guys get out there and they start to worry so much about where the pole's at or what the wind's doing that they forget about all the little things.
Thomas, tell us a little bit about when the weather started to get better, more in your favor. How does that affect you mentally? And at what point did it seem to get better where you said, hey, this is good stuff. I'm going to have a little bit of ease for a while?
Well, usually what Western States is famous for is like at about mile 40 when you hit the canyons, going up and down really steep canyons, you hit usually about 100-degree weather. Like 100, 105 is not unusual there. So that was obviously very pleasant that it was only 75 or 80 at that point, But I think, there was obviously 3 course records broken. a lot of people did very well. So I think Ellie Greenwood, the women's winner and who broke a remarkable old-standing course record from Andresen, she said the weather, it wasn't good weather, but it was fast weather. Because I think even what the cold weather in the beginning sucked out of people, they gained way more from it being cooler in the canyons. A lot of people. You know, there were others too who got just too cold and had to drop out and those kind of things as well.
So from the start, though, you said what was the initial altitude at start? 9,000? Is that what it was said?
It starts in Squaw Valley.
What's the altitude in Squaw Valley?
I think it's 6,200.
6,200 in Squaw Valley.
And in the first 3.5 miles, it goes 2,500 feet uphill.
Okay.
It's so to give you an idea, Cuesta Crate, if you go up Stagecoach Road on the side, that's about 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and it has about 900 feet. So it's really steep. It pretty much goes up a service road below the ski lifts that they use to service the lifts. And so you get up to like almost 9,000 feet. I think it's 850 or something like that.
So for the most part, the whole race is at altitude. And the thing is, we're talking about the 100-mile aspect, the up and down hills, the weather. And while we're talking about all that, the whole race is occurring at lower oxygen levels, pretty much.
This one, compared to Tahoe that I did last year, Tahoe, everything's between 7,000 and 9,000 feet. This race actually is, after about 50 miles, you get down to like 5,000, 4,000, and then it finishes in Auburn, which I think Auburn's 2,000 feet or something like that. So.
Hey, we're talking to Thomas Reiss. We're going to come back in just a minute. We want to hear a little bit more about how you prepare for some of this. Clearly, we don't have that kind of elevation around here. How do you prepare for the different weather types of things, where people are along the way when you talk about your team? We want to know a little bit more about your team as well and what we have in the future for you and where we can continue to look for just absolutely mind-boggling statistics and events like you put forward there. So more from Thomas Reiss on Living the Run.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
The ultimate choice for sports massage in SLO County? Peak Performance. Conveniently located at SLO Wellness Center just blocks from Cal Poly is ready to assist you to reach your personal best. Calling all athletes and fitness enthusiasts. If you're ready to start alleviating symptoms by addressing the true problems, if you are seeking efficient and effective body work, then you can count on Peak Performance. Nagging injury, losing the bounce in your step, pain or tightness keeping you from training hard and reaching your goals? Raise your standards, raise your expectations. Call Peak Performance 543-8688.
Hey guys, Paul Terek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, SLO Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at SLO Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, SLO Wellness Center. check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the SLO Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Hey, back with Thomas Reiss. Just finished the Western States 100. This is remarkable stuff. Some great stuff, on the break there. Tell us a little bit about preparation. Training here, this is a great place to train. We've got some incredible hills to run. We've got great scenery, great terrain. Certainly we don't have anything up with those kinds of elevations. Where do you train to get used to being in spots where there's a little bit less oxygen? How do you get the body ready for those changes in elevation like that? Again, guys, if you didn't hear earlier, Western States, you got 18,000 feet of climbing ascent, 22,000 feet descent. So you're up and down all over the place. How do you get ready for that?
We have quite a bit of good backcountry trails here. You just need to know about them. Most people, if they think of running on trails here, they think of Johnson Ranch and that sort of a thing. But there's a lot of stuff like my training group, the Slow Trail Runners that I train with a lot. We go out and we run a lot in near Poso, High Mountain Road, Rinconada Trailhead, Big Falls, Little Falls back there. And there's some real rugged, steep stuff that really helps preparing for a race like that.
During the break, you were talking. Max asked a question. You said at the end of the race, it was about the last 2.5. You said the low point was about 98 miles, right?
Yeah, the lowest point of the course is the American River at No Hands Bridge in pretty much just outside of Auburn, and you have about I think it's 800 feet of climbing.
So Max made the point that it would be like getting to the bottom of the Cuesta Grade in 98 miles and then just having to run to the top 800 feet.
Pretty much.
It's probably a little steeper, I guess, from the bottom. But
yeah.
How do you? I mean, when you get to that point, you're that close. How do you address that? Because, like Max said, hey, most people think, oh, I only got 2 miles left, and he's thinking, I have to climb the Cuesta Grade at this point.
It's really a mental game, and my good friend and pacer, Brett Rivers, who paced me in my other 200 milers for the last 20 miles as well, he just, if I stop running, he's like, hike strong, don't slow down, just hike strong, and you just get into a power hike for a couple minutes, and then you try and pick it up and run again for a couple minutes and put your head down, and eventually you're on top of that hill. Eventually you see it's dark too, because I finished at 1:30 in the morning. So eventually you see the lights of the aid station, and you're like, oh, there's the lights, and you hear the cheers, and you're like, oh, I'm up.
Or you're delirious, one of the two. Or
yeah.
Well, it's a great point. I mean, one of the things that Paul and I are trying to do here on Living the Run is get people active, get people motivated, and realize that there is time to do these things. But when we start to talk about training for a 100-mile run, and like I said, I read Ultramarathon Man, Confessions of a Nighttime Runner. When are you training? I mean, certainly it's a lot of hours. You have a family, beautiful son in here. When are you training for this kind of stuff, and when do those hours take place?
It's a big commitment. I mean, I've been averaging 100-mile weeks for like pretty much the last 6 months. So there's a lot of early days, getting up at like 4:30 and running from 5 until 9 o'clock, and then going to work. I'm not a professional runner. Like Dean has that advantage. It's his job. It's his business. So he can probably go for a run at 8 and be done by 12:30. Well, by then I already had 2 meetings with clients. So. It's a big commitment, weekends, it's just, it depends on how badly do you want something, you really want it, you're going to find a way to make it happen.
Absolutely. That's a great point for the Living the Run listeners. I'm interested in strategy. I know there's got to be a bunch of different strategies among runners in these things. Western States 100, no different than we've talked to coaches along the way. I know Judd was in here talking swimming coaches. We've talked to Paul's old coach. There's always differences in strategy. What are the differences in strategy, and what strategy do you take going into these races?
Well, you kind of have to run your own race and just not get sidetracked by, oh, this guy's going out faster. And like an example, Ellie Greenwood again, who took the women's course record in the win. She was like, I think at one point 25 minutes behind the women's leader, but she just had her plan and she stuck with it. Stay on top of your fuel, your calories, your hydration, keep that going. And I hit a really, really bad low spot after about 40 miles, and I thought the race is over for me, and I sucked it up till mile 60, met my crew, met my pacer from mile 60 to 80, Eric Doobie, great friend of mine, and, he got me back into the game again. He was like, you know what, this is not as bad as you think, just keep on eating, keep on drinking, keep on moving. And we ran down to the river crossing in a very, very good time, way better than mile 40 to mile 60 was, and suddenly I was like, wow, I think I can even break 20 hours. And, so it's a long, long way, and a lot can happen.
We're talking to Thomas Reiss, just finished the Western States 100 here on Living the Run, ESPN 1280, The Ticket. If you've missed any part of this interview, you want to catch the rest, make sure you find us on livingtherun.com or on Facebook. Incredible stuff. What I'm interested in knowing is how much talk is there out there? I mean, certainly you guys get spread out over 100 miles, but there are times, like you said, the female winner was 25 minutes behind, and she starts creeping up and passing people. When you get near people, is there talk? Do you guys encourage each other? Do people slow down and kind of chat it up a little bit, or are people pretty silent and to themselves as you go through?
No, that's actually one of the coolest thing about ultra running. It's, I used to do 5K, 10K, half marathon road races, and everyone's kind of like, probably how it is in track, staring at each other and not talking to each other. And here, I mean, people sacrifice their own race to help someone if someone's injured, or I think it's because it's so remote and such an extreme thing. I think people tend to be more open-minded and helpful, Now, yeah, if I come up on someone with like a mile to go and I can win a race, yeah, I'm gonna pass him. I'm not gonna start chit-chatting, But in general, you encourage each other. Like someone's standing on the side of the trail, you ask them, hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Do you need any food? Are you good? But it can be very lonely. I mean, I was on my own pretty much between mile 48 and 62. I got passed by a few people, but I was by myself. And 60 to 80, I was by myself with my pacer the whole way. We didn't pass anyone, and we didn't get passed by anyone,
Is there life out there?
Yeah.
You probably were asked it a few times.
I make a wrong turn here. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to be on this road.
Yeah. Hey, what can we expect from you in the future? I know you said that during the break that you wanted to go under 20 hours. You just barely missed that, but nobody here is going to hold you to that. I mean, that's just brilliant stuff to get under that 24-hour mark. I know that's a pretty big benchmark.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here, look.
He's still got the belt buckle. We're going to take a picture of it. We'll put it online. It's incredible stuff what you did. What do we expect from you in the future? What can we look for as Living the Run listeners from Thomas Reiss?
That's a good question. Maybe ask me in 2 weeks.
Right now he's retired, but maybe in 2 weeks he'll come out of retirement.
Yeah, I'm still kind of beat up from the weekend. So I don't know.
Can I ask you this? Why do you pick Western States instead of, say, Badwater that's coming up in a few weeks or any of the other events? How do you come to choose the ones that you choose?
Well, Western States, it's like the Wimbledon of ultra running. It was the first 100-mile. It's where it all started. It's sort of the classic. It's really hard to get in. They have about 2,500 people in the lottery who try to get one of the 400 spots. So it's, I applied in the lottery for the last 3 years, and this year was the first time I got my name picked out of the hat. So it's like it has a certain cachet to it. It's just a really special race.
But by now, qualifying under the 24 hours, do you get an automatic entry in for next year if you want it?
No, only the top 10 finishers, men and women, get an automatic entry. And there's a few really high-profile races where the winner and second place finisher get a top entry. So,
what a great way to run the registration, though, because sometimes people, you know, how many people register for marathons, then just don't show up or don't go and lose the money. But like, if you really want to do, you know, if you really want to do Western States and they actually draw your name, you kind of have to do it, you know, because you never know if you'll get that opportunity again.
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up our show. Thomas Reiss, brilliant guest. I want to have you on, though, for a segment that we always have called Tips and Takeaways, something to give to our listeners, something going forward for the next day. So wrap up the show in just a few minutes.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Since 1929, Standard Process has been dedicated to providing the highest quality whole food supplements. Their philosophy is simple: to provide nutrients as they are found in nature. Today, scientists are finding more and more evidence demonstrating the benefits of whole food nutrients over high-dose synthetic vitamins. Standard Process's unique products are sold through healthcare professionals who are trained in using whole food nutrition as the first line of defense for the body. Visit www.standardprocess.com for more information or to find a Standard Process healthcare practitioner near you.
Hey guys, Paul Terek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
My name is Chris Randolph, and as a local track and field Olympic hopeful, I've been seeing Brian Quigley at Slow Wellness Center to help me with injury recovery during my season. Brian has not only helped me with some very extensive injuries, but has also educated me on the specifics of how my body moves when I compete. His knowledge and touch has helped me achieve personal bests in my competition and has also helped me in injury prevention. Becoming a wellness patient of his has helped me stop my injuries before they start, making time spent recovering shorter, leaving more time spent training for my goals. From injury prevention to wellness, Brian understands the patient and holistically helps them achieve their personal health-related goals. So check out Brian Quigley at peakperformanceslo.com and find him on Facebook and comment a response to this ad and get a complimentary 60-minute massage.
This is really cool, Dad.
Yep, nothing better than camping out under the stars.
You think there's any bears out here?
I don't think we have to worry about that. Look, there's the Big Dipper.
Wow, cool.
At Four Seasons Outfitters, they can help you create an outdoor family adventure.
Hey, can we try out my new fishing pool tomorrow?
Sure. Hey, want to roast another marshmallow?
Oh, yeah.
For camping and hiking equipment or fishing and hunting gear, Four Seasons is your hometown outdoor outfitter.
Did you and Grandpa go camping when you were little?
We sure did.
Did you see any bears?
Nope, no bears.
You'll find backpacks and tents, freshwater and deep-sea fishing equipment, campfire cooking supplies, guns and ammo, everything you'll need for your next outdoor adventure.
Hi, guys.
Hi, honey.
Oh, hi, Mom.
So how are my 2 campers doing? Do you want me to leave the porch light on?
Maybe. Just in case there's a bear.
Even if it's in your own backyard. Four Seasons Outfitters, your outdoor adventure headquarters for more than 25 years. 432 Higuera, San Luis Obispo.
We're back with Living the Run.
There's a lot of reasons I love this show, Living the Run, Paul, but none more than what's about to take place right now. I'm telling you, we have a great guest in studio, Thomas Reiss's son, Dylan. Dylan, you had advice for your dad. We do a thing on this show called Tips and Takeaways, something for the listeners to take away for tomorrow, something that might help them in their fitness. I heard you ran a 1,500 meter in 5:59. That is flying. It's very, very fast. Tell us how you do it. Give us the tip that you gave your dad before the race.
Well, I told him that if the next day you have a big race coming up, then it's always good to like pretend like nothing's going on the next day. So then you can get a good night's sleep so you're not nervous, and then the next day you like wake up and you're like, oh, it's my big race today, and you got a lot of sleep so you can run fast in your race.
That's brilliant stuff. Paul, you said that was brilliant.
It is. It's brilliant. How many people stress out about things at night, and you see them all nervous and worried, and then they don't sleep good, and then they're up the next day, and they're all fidgety, but that's genius.
This show's been going on for a year and a half, Dylan. We have never had a tip that was that brilliant. Who do you want to say hi to? I know there's somebody at home.
Yeah, I wanted to say hi to my little brother Luke.
Hey, little brother Luke, next time you will come in studio too. We'll get you on the radio. Your brother's a star here on ESPN 1280. That was Dylan Reiss, Thomas Reiss. Tremendous stuff. We wanted to say thank you so much for coming in studio. Thanks for living the run with us. Dave Whitaker from Left Coast T-Shirts just came by. Paul, we got hot off the press, Living the Run T-shirts. Awesome stuff. We also wanted to give you $20 to our favorite Jaffa Cafe. Take Dylan with you. Get a great gyro, little baklava, something there. We love the guys at Jaffa Cafe. Thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was awesome.
Incredible stuff. Great guest today, Paul. Again, we went from Olympic venue to Olympic venue, Eugene, Oregon. Chris Randolph, thanks so much for coming in or for calling in. We had Mimi McKellar, Central Coast Gymnastics, give us an update on what's going to be happening this weekend in San Jose, as well as Judd Clark out there in Omaha, Nebraska, following Zach Stevens, local AG kid, unbelievable qualifier at 15 years old, and really a cool thing to have jumped up 20 spots and improved his time there.
Yeah, that was, for a young guy like that to go and do as well as he did, just shows you what kind of athlete he's going to be.
It's great stuff. Next week, guys, 4th of July, have a safe time. We're going to run a replay of one of our favorite shows. We had all kinds of callers calling in and emails on a show with Brandon Brock, functional neurologist, talking concussions. AJ Taves, a scout from the Washington Capitals, doing the same. Any last tips, Paul?
I think what he said earlier was really big. He got a little tired. He got a little distracted. When he got to the 60-mile point, his training partner came in and helped push him along. I think that shows the importance of getting somebody out there with you, kind of sharing the motivation, sharing the drive.
My tip and takeaway is Thomas said, is that he said, if you really want it, you go after it. And that is the case. Don't make excuses. Get after it. Again, Dylan, your tip and takeaway was the best. Get rest. Don't worry about it. Don't let those nerves get you. Dylan, thanks for coming in. We always say here on Living the Run, live healthy, live bold, come live the run.